How's it going, everyone? Blackrock is buying Bitcoin. They literally just said that they are doing that. I want to explain what they said to the SEC, why they said it, and talk about this pump in crypto. There's a lot going on, a lot of exciting stuff. If you don't mind, hit subscribe, turn on that bell notification underneath the video so that way you can see all the future videos just like this one. I try to make them as quickly as I can when there's big news. So you definitely want to follow, especially because this is maybe not the exact beginning of the next bull run, but you know a bull run is coming. So you want to be ready. You want to have channels set in place to give you the news as quickly as possible because time is money in this kind of environment. There's a link down there to Treasure as well. With my code, my financial friend, at checkout, you can get 15% off of your Treasure devices. This is the best code you can use out there because I'm giving my entire affiliate commission away. Also, I think it just helps you. I don't know if you knew this, but there's a thing among some humans where they have the sudden urge to jump from high places, even if they're not like someone that wants to hurt themselves. This is just like some kind of phenomenon that's evolved through history. And I kind of feel like Treasure is like that too. Like if Bitcoin doesn't move for a while and you see other assets move, you start thinking maybe I should sell some of my crypto. I know people that have felt this way. And even in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, maybe it would be nice to put more money towards something else. And I'm like, whoa, that's dumb. Just like jumping would be dumb. With a Treasure, you have your crypto stored up in a place that's a little bit harder to access, which can help you stop yourself from making really stupid decisions. So while you're down there too, there's a link to Bag Tracker AI. I would highly suggest signing up, pre-registering. This is the app that I'm creating with a few other people. If you haven't done this already, we are probably going to have to stop at some point, I would think. We have talked about it at least. Stopping the pre-registration at so many people so that way we can test it out with a select group of people. So if you want to make sure that you are in on that, whether we decide to go that route or not, I would pre-register. Just put your name and email in there. We're going to track all your assets in one place. Now, that's enough talking. Bitcoin is moving. Bitcoin dominance is moving up to 52.7%. Really interesting. We have seen some previous support around 57%, so maybe we get rejected there. That would still be a huge move from where we are now. Keep in mind, though, just a few days ago, actually a few months ago, August, midway through August, late August, we were at 49%. Now we've moved up 4%. So we're talking about maybe another couple months at this rate before we hit this level of 57%, but a lot of other altcoins are moving too. Bitcoin obviously doing extremely well, but as you can see, there are some outperformers. Dogecoin, for example, up 4.4%, Chainlink up 7.3%, Polygon up 4.1%, Polkadot up 7%. So there are definitely some runners right now. I even saw Phantom. I'm not even sure where Phantom is anymore, but Phantom was up 9%. This is a crypto that I still hold a little bit of. Obviously, I am very heavy into Bitcoin right now because I did think dominance was going to go up, and it has. But some other cryptocurrencies are running. Now, we continue to see the supply dwindle. I'll tell you about Blackrock in a little bit, but we continue to see the supply fall down, which obviously makes it so that the price of Bitcoin is more likely to move quickly to the upside just because there's less available. So if someone wants to buy a large amount of it, they're going to have less available to buy. We're also seeing some institutional investors come back in, and I would not be surprised to see a huge inflow this next week. We saw a fourth consecutive week of inflows, and this looks at a lot of larger investment funds and what they're buying. 55 million went into Bitcoin. We saw 15.5 million going into Solana. And we saw some coming out of Ethereum. So we've seen this a lot over the last couple months. Money flowing out of Ethereum, a lot of money going into Solana. For the last month to date, we saw Ethereum actually have negative 5 million and Solana have 43 million. This obviously does cause the price to go up. And this alone doesn't change the price entirely. We have a lot of retail investors kind of echoing the sentiment. A lot of people are buying Solana and are very excited about Solana. There's a lot of activity on Solana, and it's one that I've been saying for a long time. I want to position myself in for the next bull run. Now, as you can see on a larger time frame, Bitcoin just breaking out around 31,000, a really important level to watch. is right around this $32,000 mark. We had seen previous resistance a couple times, and then we had seen a lot of previous support in this range. So this range is just going to be sticky in general. If we can break out, obviously, we could have a pretty big move, and it could make a lot of people bullish. I would not be entirely surprised if we saw a little bit of resistance and maybe a breakdown, a little double tap, and then we break through a third time. That happens a lot as well. But right now, the market is looking very bullish in cryptocurrency. There's a lot of good news. Now, in macro, we actually saw a little bit different. We've seen the market trend red the last couple of weeks. We do have a lot of important earnings this week for the macro or for traditional markets, which we will be paying attention to. I do want to pull up, though. There was a big move that was just done by Bill Ackman. Bill Ackman is someone that's a very famous investor. A lot of people look to him. And he just said that they are closing their shorts on bonds. Basically covering, they said, their bond short. He says there's too much risk in the world to remain short bonds at current long-term rates. The economy is slowing faster than recent data suggests. So what does this mean? Well, when he did this, when he tweeted this 3 hours ago, we went from a market where the NASDAQ was down 1% to the NASDAQ going up 1%. So a huge move, and it's probably not entirely from Bill Ackman, but the timing was perfect, and there was a dramatic move. So I think that kind of lines up. What is he doing? He's closing his bond short. So he thinks the price of bonds might go up. Why would bonds price go up or the face value of bonds go up? Because the Fed stops upping rates, and that causes the face value of the bonds that they already have to go up. Basically, as we know, treasury yields and the face value of bonds are inversely related. So if the Fed isn't going to continue raising rates, that means that there aren't going to be higher and higher yields that you can get from new treasury bonds, which means that the old ones, or the ones that we have right now, would be worth more relative. So he's basically saying that he thinks that the Fed could either keep rates flat or lower them. And he says this is because the economy is slowing faster than what data is actually showing. So maybe he probably does have a lot of access to data that we don't have. And that's causing him to be a little bit, I want to say bearish on the economy, but bullish on markets. If the Fed lowers rates, that could definitely help the stock market. Now, obviously, it's this tightrope game where you don't want the economy to go down too much. Either you want to make sure that you have a strong economy, and if the economy really is slowing too fast, then that could be a bad thing. But at this point, I think a lot of people are just watching rates. How high are they going to be and how long are they going to be there? So with that in mind, Bitcoin's still a little bit decoupled, up at 31,000. Why is this? Well, we continue to see the likelihood of the ETF improving. We can obviously just tell that from the discount in GBTC. A lot of people think that if one ETF is approved, all of them will get approved, and that means that the discount will be swallowed up. And that's why people are buying and making it much closer to the actual value of Grayscale's Bitcoin Trust. I realize I move a lot. I move through these kinds of discussions very quickly, and I'll try to slow it down a little bit for people in the future. Basically, Grayscale holds a lot of Bitcoin. They charge some fees on it, but because it's not a spot Bitcoin ETF where they actually go out and buy Bitcoin when people buy their ETF or sell when people sell, they have this difference in the price, the price of the trust, the GBTC shares, versus how much it's actually worth, how much the underlying Bitcoin's worth. And that is the discount or the premium. We've seen premiums in the past, and then we saw discounts. Now, as people think that it's more and more likely that this ETF is going to get approved, this discount's just getting smaller and smaller because eventually it should hit zero if it turns into a spot Bitcoin ETF. So that's a great indicator of the likelihood, or what investors think the likelihood is, of an ETF being approved. Now, We got some more news on this just today with BlackRock making a big move towards the SEC. But first, I do want to hit on this. Argentina's pro-Bitcoin presidential candidate, Javier Milei, forces a runoff election. So basically, if one candidate doesn't get 40% of the vote, and then 10% more than the next highest candidate, they do another election. So it looks like we're going to have to wait until November, but he is someone that's very pro Bitcoin, and it makes sense because he realizes that the inflation rate is just much too high in Argentina. 124.4% August, the highest level since 1991. So they're going to face off in an upcoming election on November 19. We'll have to wait longer, but this is pretty big for cryptocurrency. I mean, Argentina, the GDP is 487 billion, and compare that to El Salvador at 28.7 billion. It's 17 times bigger. If they had a very pro Bitcoin president come in, that could force a lot of adoption in Argentina, at least if they're as bullish and as boisterous, or as they talk about Bitcoin as much as El Salvador. I think that could definitely help Bitcoin's price. So that's definitely going to be something to pay attention to in about a month. I thought we were going to get more news because it seemed like he was way in the lead. I thought we were going to get some news on that just today, but it looks like we'll have to wait a little bit longer. However, we have some news on BlackRock. BlackRock is buying Bitcoin literally right now. BlackRock has told the SEC it will seed its spot Bitcoin ETF in October in preparation for approval. So seeding an ETF involves obtaining initial capital, usually from a bank or broker-dealer, to buy several creation units, such as Bitcoin in this context. This capital is exchanged for ETF shares, which become available for open market trading the first day. So they are buying Bitcoin. Now, they're not putting probably billions of dollars into Bitcoin right now, but they are buying Bitcoin. And I think what's more important than them buying a few Bitcoin off the market is that they just told the SEC that they're going to seed it. They're going to get it ready. They're going to make that next step because they think that it's very likely that they're going to have this approved. They've said before that they are working with the SEC to get this approved, and this is the next step. I think that this is very bullish, and we're seeing people from the SEC not even really understand why we don't have this approved already. Let me play this for you. This is as of today. SEC Commissioner Hester Pierce talking about why she's not sure why the ETF isn't approved already.
And I can't say whether or not the commission is ready to approve a Bitcoin exchange traded product. I've been thinking we should approve one for the last 5 years. So the logic for why we haven't has always mystified me. The court case obviously is an important factor in the landscape, but I can't guess as to my colleagues' approach to this topic.
We've even seen Gary Gensler kind of pull back, and he's talking about Bitcoin and crypto in a much more positive light, and even the spot ETF seems much more likely to be approved than how he used to be, very negative against everything in crypto, and saying that pretty much everything was a security. We're starting to see him talk a little bit more about it, and it does look more bullish. So if you are still watching this space, congratulations, because you are in the right place. I think over the next 2 years, we're going to have just an insane time in crypto, especially if macro turns around a bit. Even if it doesn't, I think Bitcoin still will do quite well over the coming years. The question is, can you stay in the game long enough? Are you paying attention enough to know when you should probably be dollar cost averaging? Or maybe there's some big shift that makes you want to buy altcoins versus Bitcoin or something. You just have to be paying attention to what's happening to get ready for the next bull run. And then making sure that you keep your head in the game, making sure that you're taking care of yourself and your assets to make sure that you can get through the excitement, right? We don't want anyone having any health problems or losing their crypto or anything like that. So check out Treasure underneath the video. Check out Bag Tracker. We're going to have really cool options too where you can put in notes. So that way, let's say you buy some smaller cryptocurrency and you can't remember what wallet you have it on. You can go find your wallet address. You can figure out, okay, it was MetaMask or something like that. And we'll be able to have you put those notes right in there. So if you want to sell a crypto because it pumps up a lot or because it falls a lot or there's some bad news or good news, you're going to be able to find it a lot faster with our app. So definitely check that out underneath the video. Thank you so much for watching. Again, hit subscribe because I am going to continue to be here day after day, giving you the most valuable news that I see out there. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.